led into the second half, but late in the first half, and then eventually the Mocs pulled away to the victory after taking the lead at the break. We are underway here in Johnson City. Wofford and ETSU, they split last year's get-together. Klesmith, the fine guard from Wisconsin, someone to keep an eye on. And the starting lineup for the Terriers also includes the man with the ball, and Ryan Larson trying to deliver the first points of the game. Inside the rebound, and put back up and in by Morgan Safford. Larson, though, just like Klesmith, one of the glue guys for this Terriers team.
Absolutely, 103rd career game. He's played a lot of Terrier basketball. Now for ETSU, David Sloan, conversely the point guard for the Bucks, he's also key, transfer from Kansas State.
That's Sloan with the ball. One of their newcomers, Jaden Seymour, giving it away to another newcomer, Jordan King. Seymour unable to save it, and an early turnover for an ETSU team that gives it up 12.6 times a game. Wofford in that ballpark, over 12 turnovers a game, but of late, one of the things Jay McCauley talked to us about this morning, their turnover percentage is off. They're about 18 to 20%. Their goal is 14 to 15%. It'll be a real key in this game today.
They're usually solid with the ball, right? Just 12 a game. They're usually at the top of the SoCon, but their assist to turnover ratio, 31 turnovers in the last 2 games to just 15 assists.
Max Klesmith hits him at 47% from the field, and you saw he's got a mid-range game as well, and an early 4-0 advantage for the Terriers.
As good as he is behind the arc, he is just simply a shooter. He knows how to score the basketball.
Darius Brewer and Sloan out high. Seymour, Wichita State transfer. Brewer, who had 30 in the meeting between these teams a year ago, gets the first bucket of the ball game in 2022 against Wofford.
He's a talented player. You hear Coach Oliver screaming ball movement. It was kind of sticking on one side.
Safford, one of the Terriers trying to grow his role this season. And B.J. Mack, and we'll talk more about the South Florida transfer with the ball backing inside. Trying to go to the bucket on Ty Brewer, Darius's brother.
2 good ones that decided to come back and really help Coach Oliver continue not to rebuild, but put this proud program back to where they've been over the last really 15 years on and off. I mean, they've had some great coaches here. Most recently, Steve Forbes had them at the top of the Southern Conference.
First foul on either team. Ty is the younger brother of Ladarius. Both arrived here after starting their collegiate careers elsewhere. Klesmith, not that time. And there's Seymour, using that length to pull down the rebound. Sloan, the crossover, and the pretty finish.
That's an understatement, partner. Gave him a little shimmy shake with the shoulders and then the crossover, and found himself wide open for the layup.
Larson, one of the better defenders on the ball in the SoCon, but never had a chance as Sloan blew by him. So we're tied up early on. Great atmosphere for college basketball here in Johnson City, Tennessee. One of my favorite arenas anywhere, and Mack trying to kick it away, but Ty Brewer knocks it out of bounds.
Great defensive possession so far for the Bucks, but you're right. I mean, Freedom Hall, they put 11 million or so in this, 4 or 5 years ago, and it really, while it's a couple of miles off campus, it has become a really, really difficult place for opposing teams to win.
Sam Godwin, and on his way to the hole, he'll be called for the travel, so the turnover against the Terriers. Godwin, another one of those players trying to really grow here in his sophomore year in the program. After the first few games of the season, they lost probably their best inside scorer, Messiah Jones, to a season-ending injury. And the Terriers have kind of been trying to figure things out, if you will, since that point.
They have continued to try, and they will all season. Messiah Jones led him in rebounding last year, over 10 points a game last year. I mean, just a talented player. So not one guy, everybody's going to have to step up.
Seymour on the pretty feed from Ty Brewer, and the foul is called. And it'll go against Godwin and the Terriers.
I like Seymour. He's got a bright future here in Johnson City. A year at Wichita State. He didn't play as a high school senior. Suffered an ACL injury, but he's from an athletic family. Dad played at Canisius, mom at Cheney. He's had aunts and uncles that have played professionally. I believe a lot in bloodlines and or kids that come from coaching families. I just think that they just are really able to adapt to the college level.
top 150 player out of Charlotte before he suffered that season-ending knee injury his senior year. And his head coach, Desmond Oliver, we'll talk more about as we continue today. And the ball will go back over to Wofford, but he has both Canisius and Charlotte ties, so it was natural that he would get Seymour to transfer here from Wichita State.
For sure. It's Seymour, another guy just like Godwin that's got to trying to just step up more with the loss of Silas Adeki no longer with ETSU. And so, again, Seymour and others trying to corral those rebounds, score those points that were lost when Adeki left the team.
Terriers trying to retake the lead after jumping out in front 4-0. Safford from the left wing. There's Mack. Try to go back up. 3 defenders around him. Out of bounds. Back over to ETSU.
A nice job by Mack, but he had the nice heads and shoulders fake. Got a couple of those bucks in the air, but they were still able to block it and knock it off his hip.
Teams that use somewhat different styles, but a lot in common. Each 3-3 over their past 6 games. Each with a victory over Georgia this year on the road. And another throwaway, this time by Sloan. And both teams right around that 9-win mark, 8 or 9 wins, but you get the impression they're still trying to figure things out. With Wofford having lost Jones and Adeki, as you mentioned, having moved on after 8 games from the Bucks program.
Yeah, no question. And then factor in Coach Oliver. He's the 3rd coach in 3 seasons here in Johnson City. It just takes time to build that culture, that chemistry. You've got new players because of the portal these days. Then you factor in injuries and COVID. Just a lot of things for coaches to have to work on and the players to figure out. But I don't think there's any question these 2 teams will be right there at the end when we get to Asheville.
Mack, a strong move inside. He had Seymour and Ty Brewer on either side of him. The Terriers move back in front.
A lot of interesting matchups here. We talked about Larson and Sloan.
Safford off the poor pass by Darius Brewer. No, there's Isaiah Bigelow trying to clean up. Back into the groove or grow his game this year on this Wofford roster. He missed all of last season with a knee injury.
Yeah, it's here we talk about Messiah Jones with his injury and Bigelow. Those 2 redshirted 3 years ago, right, in hopes that they just weren't ready. They were going to sit behind Cameron Jackson and some others, Matt Pegram, and it was just decided, hey, let's redshirt and get these guys ready. Unfortunately, because of injuries, they just haven't been able to get to where they need to be.
Going to give a lot of attention out high to Darius Brewer that time. Just into the game. Charlie Weber unable to finish. Bigelow almost traveled. Gets it to Corey Tripp, a freshman from Medina, Ohio, who just checked in. Here's Mack backing in on Brewer. And Darius Brewer with the rebound. He's among their leaders, better than 5 a game. Saved by Yasser, a freshman guard. Weber, and he'll head to the line.
Weber's a guy, boy, that's a nice pass inside, as you see Jay McCauley.
3rd season at a program where he was an assistant coach and was elevated when Mike Young moved on after that 2019 campaign. To guide Virginia Tech, Jay McCauley with ties to the University of Georgia, so obviously that win in November down there in Athens was certainly extra rewarding to him. As Weber, who's back in action after missing the past couple of ball games after he hurt himself before their win at Georgia for ETSU. 87% from the line, we see why, and it's an 8-7 ball game.
And Weber has benefited from the coaching change probably more than any other Buccaneer.
And the fact that Adeki left this program, he's had to step up off the miss. Yasser driving inside, and the foul will be called in the active shooting. It'll go against Corey Tripp. Desmond Oliver, a veteran in the coaching ranks, but his first season at ETSU as the head coach and his first guiding a program. What an interesting background he has, a lot of different stops, been around some great coaches in the game. He says he's really glad he waited until he was right around 50 years old to get his first head coaching job. He felt like he was seasoned. I thought it was interesting in talking to him before the game today that he says in some respects he's kind of surprised himself with how easily things have flowed from game planning through now being the guy where the buck stops during each and every game.
Well, part of that's he's been around some really, really good basketball coaching, right? Rick Barnes, who's now at Tennessee, Jim Barron, what he did at St. Francis and Rhode Island, St. Bonaventure, and there's others. Desmond Oliver's the right guy at the right time for this ETSU program.
Says he gets his defense from Rick Barnes, his offense from Jim Barron. Sadly missed out front by Tripp. But B.J. Mack inside. And his inside presence has really increased since Messiah Jones went down. And the Terriers with a 10-9 advantage.
Mack was playing well even before Jones went down, but he's played better since. Part of that's due to overall conditioning. He's lost weight. He's better focused on nutrition. And he can now stay in the game longer minutes without fouling.
Shot clock under 10. Yasser getting it to L.A. Brewer. And there's Bigelow at 6'7", skying for the rebound. Bigelow came to them kind of as a big guard, as the foul will go against Yasser of ETSU, but he too has had to have more of a presence in the paint over the past month and a half.
You mentioned as we were going to that first media timeout, there just hadn't been a lot of flow yet to this game, right? The players, the coach is just trying to figure things out right now. We've seen some difficult shots.
3 team fouls on ETSU. Yasser picking up his first. Bigelow, we noted 6'7". I don't think folks around the league recognize just how long he is as a player with that reach, and he gives the Terriers a 3-point advantage.
Well said. Not shooting it real well this season, but still has a bright future. He coming after that injury, you're right, long, athletic, and knows how to play the game, most importantly.
Sloan kicking to Vonnie Patterson, one of the veterans in this Bucks program who just checked in. Once again, shot clock under 10, and ETSU is yet to go to the basket. Sloan ending a scoring drought. No field goals in the last 4 minutes before that bucket by the Kansas State transfer.
He led the Bucks with 20 on Wednesday night in the win against VMI. He was particularly good in the second half.
Trip out high. Terriers playing without one of their point guards, and Keaton Turner, he didn't make the trip. You'll see extended minutes today for Corey Tripp, but Max Klesmet, a guy who missed their loss against VMI, and that was a huge difference in falling at home against the Keydets. He's going to get a breather. He, to me, has become their go-to guy. They have that great guard combo of Nathan Hoover and Fletcher McGee, and it's almost like Klesmet is a little bit of each of those guys.
Yeah, well said. You're right, with the size and the scoring mentality. Just the next in a long line of really, really good guards that have been at Wofford for the last really 10 years or so. We talked about that loss. They lost to VMI. He wasn't available. They lost both games at home, and then to Chattanooga makes this road game extra important.
Weber, strong move to the bucket, and the foul will be called. And Morgan Safford with a look of disbelief. But we'll see Weber, good free throw shooter, head back to the line. And of course, in the last game, Bigelow wasn't available. And he had a really good scoring night in their previous contest against VMI when he had 16. So they've played 2 SoCon games, missing a key player for each of those, factored in with the aforementioned season-ending injury to Messiah Jones.
No question, it's been a little tough sledding for the Terriers over the last month or so.
Weber can't get that one to go down.
You see this last play, I think Coach McCauley thought that Weber went over Godwin's back right there, and then was the defender Safford kind of straight up. That was a little bit of a bailout right there, led to some points for the Bucks.
Weber ties it at 12, all 3 of his points coming from the line.
They generally show a 1-2-2 3-quarter court after made free throws.
Larson, and the rebound by Weber. Larson, 41% beyond the arc, but it's come up empty so far in a couple of attempts. Little runner by Sloan.
That's the second time he's got downhill, really the third time. He started on that crossover move to start the game against Larson, but boy, he has been able to find his way into that blue paint with some nice floaters.
Sloan has 6 so far, Bucks back in front. We've seen the teams exchange the lead 5 times so far here inside of the first 8 minutes. Safford.
You know, a lot of weight. He's more mobile this season, but he has had to take on a bit more of an inside role, and he's done it quite well. Even here this afternoon, he's been a presence inside.
Yasser steps back over Klesmet. There's Bigelow pulling down the rebound. He leads their team nearly 6 a game. Terriers empty beyond the arc so far, and that is not a good thing for anyone, especially them. They bring in one of the best shooters in the league, Austin Patterson, and they'll give it a try at the line.
Yeah, the Terriers 0 of 6 before that shot by Patterson, and then Yasser with the foul. Boy, I say it time and time again, that is a cardinal sin in basketball, fouling the three-point jump shooter.
Patterson begins the afternoon actually leading the league at 53% beyond the arc. If you've joined us on some of these Wofford telecasts in the past, one of the more interesting stories in terms of a player arriving in the program. He was actually supposed to be in a prep school for the 2020 and 21 season up in the Northeast. That didn't work out. So a few games into their year, Jay McCauley says, come on down. And hours before they played Coastal Carolina, what proved to be a home win, he gets on campus, ends up contributing with 6 points in that game. I mean, it was literally within a day or so of him getting to the Spartanburg school. 2 of 3, but the offensive rebound. Here's Klesmit, and the lid comes off for the Terriers. Their top scorer hits the tray, and they move in front by 3.
Klesmit's not going to miss many when he's got a chance to find the seams and square his shoulders. Yeah, Patterson, an interesting case. Yeah, how does somebody from Sonora, California find their way to Spartanburg, South Carolina? Well, Austin Patterson has, and it's been a good marriage both ways.
The second personal foul in the opening half on Sam Godwin, so maybe a brief rest for Mack, and it will be. Godwin, a player, comes off a really nice performance in the loss against Chattanooga. He matched a career high with 17 points. We won't see him to the second half. That could be important. Now you wonder if ETSU will start focusing more in the paint. Yeah, well, and they come with Matt Nunez, who goes to corral that inbounds pass. He's a guy that was supposed to redshirt. Deep three there by Darius Brewer. You don't want him to get going. He's a streaky shooter, but boy, he can rattle off 3 or 4 threes in a hurry. Tied up at 17 apiece. We told you Brewer had 30 in the decisive ETSU win against Wofford here last year. He managed just 8 in the game down in Spartanburg.
He had 19 in the first half here at Freedom Hall Wednesday against VMI.
Patterson, he's now 1 of 2 beyond the arc, and ETSU's got to be thinking we don't want to see him heat up.
Yeah, well, Klesmit hit the last one, and now Patterson. Patterson doesn't have the prettiest form. Pulls it behind his head a little bit, but boy, the end result really good.
Boy, Bigelow really getting up there to pull down the board.
He's had a couple of those at the defensive end. He's played well. Not showing up in the scoring column, but he's been valuable thus far for the Terriers.
Klesmit off the step to his left. Patterson pulls down the rebound. Here come the Bucks. An early 5-0 run to take a lead. About half a dozen lead changes so far in our first half as we go under 10 minutes in the opening half of play.
For the most part, the Terriers' defense has been solid. They have gotten back. Transition was a key. They've been good through the first 10 minutes or so, and they have forced the Bucks into multiple late clock shots.
Deep 3 attempt, Sloan won't go. Larson and the Terriers will head the other way. Sloan was forced to heave it with 5 on the shot clock. Bigelow from afar. Isaiah Bigelow does a lot of things well for this Wofford team, and he hits them just under 30% beyond the arc.
Yeah, but you could tell the minute he released that looked good. It's 29%, but that 3 now gives the Terriers a 6-point advantage.
They're on a 6-0 run. They made 5 of their last 7 field goals. Bucks went through a 4-minute scoring drought. And folks tell us a lot of things happen both ways for them in spurts. And the dry spells are part of that. Here's a kick to Weber on the wing. Big delivery. He has given them a spark off the bench and has returned to action after a couple of games missed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's a guy that didn't play a lot as a freshman. He has stuck with it even as a sophomore. I guess now his 3rd year in the program. So many guys just want to get to the transfer portal when they're not playing.
Patterson off the seal. Sloan doesn't have the numbers. Nearly traveled, turns it into a great finish.
That is his 4th shot. By far the most acrobatic inside the paint. And just like that, the Bucks back within 1.
8 points for Sloan to lead all scorers. So another 5-0 run in this game for ETSU. Mack backing in on Nunez, who's developed that nice right-handed hook.
Certainly has. That's a 4th-year player going against a freshman who just played his first game on Wednesday.
He has been working tirelessly after practice on making that shot part of his arsenal.
That jump hook over the left shoulder with the right hand, and it shows, right? When you elevate like that at his size, that's a difficult shot to block.
Not a bad. What a great matchup we've got along our network on our Ingles SoCon Game of the Week next Saturday from Birmingham, ETSU, and Sanford. Check local listings for that battle. Wofford's led by as many as 6 in the opening half. BJ Mack and the Terriers made 4 of their past 5 field goal tries. Mack backing inside. Almost turned it over. Safford getting it to his teammates. Shot clock under 10. Double team coming. Reach in foul call.
Well, it's interesting. That double team came by Ty Brewer from the baseline side. Didn't come topping. Almost was able to strip the ball from the blind side of Mack, although Ty Brewer just a little bit too much hand-on-hand combat right there.
Actually got Jaden Seymour with his first personal. A couple of teams that play physically, but really not all that many foul calls. And last Saturday we were in Lexington with Furman and VMI. Very few whistles in that game. Stafford, some of the Terrier misses and way off on the run out. Brewer tried to get it ahead to his older brother Ladarius. And it'll stay in this end off the kick.
Larson saved the day right there with the kick. Otherwise, that was going to be a clean pass for a finish and a dunk. Gives the Terriers a chance to reset their defense now.
Jay McCauley, confident in his ball club. And Wofford coming in 8-6, but with that 0-2 mark with the 2 home losses in SoCon play. But knowing today is really important just for the mindset. Darius Brewer able to knock that one down. He's got 7 in the game. He and Sloan have done most of the scoring, and it's back to a 1-point contest.
We talked at the top, Ryan Larson, his 103rd game. This is the 100th career college game for Darius Brewer. That's a lot of basketball, and you saw it right there in that move, just a smooth baseline pull-up.
Larson will inbound. Larson, little pass in the lane, and a great up and under by BJ Mack. A great find, and then Mack had to work through traffic.
Absolutely. I think he wanted to try to finish it with a dunk, but then wanted to protect, thought better of it, to try to protect himself. A little up and under.
Here's a pull-up from a guy we haven't seen a whole lot out of so far, but it won't go for Jordan King, the Siena transfer, and one of the top scorers in this ball club, their best outside shooter.
He's been really good the last 6 games.
King with the rebound. Either team lighting it up from beyond the arc. Sloan, though, good first half, looking to keep it going, and he does. His coach says the only guy he's got who can dial up 20 points and 10 assists in a game, and he's the first player on either side in double figures with 11.
Yeah, terrific pass right there by Jordan King. He said he'd been quiet, missed the 3, had the confidence to find his teammate right there. But you're right, Sloan really one of the true leaders of this ETSU team.
Larson will kick it to Bigelow. 10 on the shot clock. Klesmith gets a lot of attention from the defense. Skips it over to Larson. 5 on the shot clock. Larson, baseline. Can't get the floater. And here comes Sloan. And ETSU trying to retake the lead.
King just wasn't able to find the ball right there to get it up. He has shot it really well over the last 6 games. He's hit 15 of 30 from 3.
Ty Brewer, the travel. And another turnover by ETSU. Be their 6th so far.
That's one of those plays that, well, I don't know, Ty Brewer, it looked like a travel, although I thought his foot was cemented there, but just because he leaned so far, made it a little easier call for the official. Good crew today.
Ryan Christian leads our crew, Byron Evans and Andrew Barksdale alongside. Under 5 to go. Cougars trying to retake the lead. They jumped up early for nothing. Patterson missing from the outside.
I thought a moment ago when Klesmith and Patterson hit back-to-back that floodgates were going to happen. But boy, to your point, Terriers have missed some shots badly behind the arc. That was another one by the Bucks that really wasn't that close.
Bucks are 3 of 9 beyond the arc off the answer miss. Mack working inside on Weber. Uses the glass.
That is exactly what he needs to do, whether it's by 1 or 2 dribbles when he catches it at the elbow, or if he can post up. He's got an advantage against most ETSU defenders this afternoon.
He's developed his game in the paint, and you really wonder if that would have happened had Jones not gone down with the injury. Other end, Sloan, rare miss for him. Bigelow hung in the air for a while. Terriers trying to build on the 2-point advantage. Patterson almost lost it.
Boy, Bigelow has been impressive at the defensive end rebounding.
Mack, he likes to step out as well because he can rattle it home. B.J. Mack, 41% among the leaders on this Wofford team on 3.
Now, we had said earlier that he hadn't taken as many because of, needing to play inside, and rightfully so, but he's capable. And that's his 13th made 3 out of 30 attempts on the season. He had just enough to keep the defense honest.
Terriers still just 4 of 14 beyond the arc.
Here we are again with the shot clock down.
At the hand of Tripp in his face. Bigelow building on a good day on the glass. Another rebound for him. He is approaching 10 rebounds in this opening half.
And they have all been city rebounds, not suburban. They've been above the rim.
Patterson off the cross-court pass. Quickly on the wing to Tripp. And another miss for the Terriers. 4 of 15 beyond the arc as a team. Ty Brewer lost the handle. Safford comes away with it. 3 on 3. Tripp. One Ohioan to another from Safford. Back out high to Bigelow. Safford at 6'5" can play about 3 or 4 positions in this Terrier lineup.
Yeah, he certainly can. Bigelow to some extent can play a couple as well.
Mack, strong move, bodies fly. Several teams, including both Wofford and ETSU, will be part of Monday makeup games. So both the Terriers and Bucks playing 4 games in about a week span.
Yeah, you talk about Malachi Smith real quickly. Leads the league in scoring, 9th in rebounding, 7th in assists, one of the top 3-point shooters. And he sells popcorn. I mean, he does a little bit of everything for Lamont Paris.
Won't go that time for Ty Brewer. 30% beyond the arc. He and his brother Ladarius about the same in terms of 3-point shooting, even though Ladarius is perceived as the better scorer. Terriers trying to build their biggest lead of the afternoon. They've been up by as many as 6. Patterson, usually a 3-point shooter. Here's a pull-up. Like maybe Yasser or Sloan got a fingertip on it. ETSU hasn't scored in over 3.5 minutes. So you go to the guy they call LA here at Freedom Hall.
And look, he was a first-teamer all-conference last year for a reason. He can go get his own about as well as anybody in the conference, not just for ETSU. You get the feeling this is a big minute and a half as that rims out for Larson behind the arc for both teams. Like, nobody really has any momentum or an advantage right now.
Jordan King, their best 3-point shooter. Brewer, no, and there's Mack on the rebound. That would have gotten this crowd a little bit louder. I figure that as the season goes on, though, Malachi Smith, I think the front runner for Player of the Year, but I think Darius Brewer will be in that conversation. Certainly, Jake Stevens at VMI has got to be mentioned, and Jalen Slauson at Furman, among others. Sanford's got a player you could probably talk about in that regard. Here's Patterson out front. A tough start for the best 3-point shooter in the league as Patterson missing again. 1 of 3 so far as a team. King trying to get the lid off. Backside rebound by Safford. Under 50 seconds to go before the break.
King just not able to knock down a couple of open shots. He's been so good since early December. Now Ryan Larson, the leader of this team, making sure that the Terriers get the shot they want. Shot clock under 10.
Bottom of your screen, the guy you want to look for in this situation. Can't get that one to fall. Shot clock's off. Bucks will play for final points and try to either pull within 1 or get this thing tied up at the break.
Look for a ball screen right there to try to free Sloan so he can make decisions.
King, another attempt from downtown. Larson the rebound,
and this year I think there's a little bit more competitive balance, but still nonetheless It is fun to cover. It is fun to watch.
Let's see what adjustments were made by Jay McCauley and Desmond Oliver in the halftime locker room, and Morgan Safford immediately tipping it away for the Terriers. Get it back with a 3-point lead.
And Safford's a guy that can guard Darius Brewer.
Safford hoping to make a bucket over Brewer, and he does. First basket made in the second half, and Morgan Safford able to knock down his first 3 of the game.
Little misdirect right there. Larson looks like he's going one way and then throws back over his shoulder.
He's the guy ETSU needs to get going scoring-wise. King. Brewer had a good first half, and that continues. We noted a year ago he had 30 points against the Terriers here. He's got 12 so far today.
Yeah, Brewer's a guy more than anybody else on the court or in this gym that can get it going and score in bunches.
Larson. Notice they go to Mack inside, trying to get it across the lane to Godwin. And the Bucks able to get it back. It's moved by Darius Brewer to save it.
That wasn't a great pass, but Godwin's got to be able to catch that.
King as Larson hit the deck. And it bounds to B.J. Mack.
King just cannot get one to go down. First couple in the first half were not real clean, but well, he had a couple. One there at the end that you thought was going to tie the game at 32 all. He just can't get it to go in today.
Godwin working inside, and it's a turnover. Godwin didn't see a whole lot of him in the first half. He's picked up 2 quick fouls.
You know, we don't have a full house here at Freedom Hall tonight, but it's a good crowd. But they're just waiting for the Bucks to get a little bit momentum and do some things that just kind of get them off their hands right now.
Sloan, 11 points in the opening half. Crossing over, another deep penetration, kicks it. That's Ty Brewer. And the rebound coming down to Larson, who at 6'1", gets banged for his buck on the glass. It's about 4 a game, but he's been higher than that during his career. Mack, and an offensive foul is called. Ty Brewer hits the deck. B.J. Mack picks up the personal, and that'll be the second on the Terriers' big man.
A lot of contact in there. Watch it again. He recognizes it's one-on-one. The double team doesn't come. Nice job by Ty Brewer, just holding his ground, holding his feet right there, clearly outside a restricted arc. Good defense. Plenty of offensive firepower on the court for ETSU. I mean, between Darius Brewer and Sloan, King, even though he hadn't shot it well, they're all very capable. They just can't get it going right now.
Larson trying to keep up with Sloan. Scramble for the ball. Godwin. And here come the Terriers. Klesmit, no look. Safford can't finish. And there's Darius Brewer. Nice recovery defense that time by the Bucks.
Yeah, it certainly was. They didn't give up on what was a turnover.
Quick catch and shoots. Darius Brewer.
Wow, he got rid of that one quickly. He was ready, and the pass was right in the shooting pocket. Right, good passes lead to good shots.
15 points for him. He's 3 of 5 beyond the arc. He's playing some good defense as well. Godwin with Seymour out to defend. And knocked away by Sloan. Last touch there by the ETSU big man, Seymour.
Nothing against Sam Godwin. He's a talented inside player. But if I'm Wofford, I'm looking at a first option for B.J. Mack to touch it. Watch it again. That's the last 2 threes here. Brewer, he can get it off in a hurry. And then the second one was even quicker. Again, he's the guy with 8 seconds on the clock here. He's the guy for ETSU that can he's a streak shooter.
And knocked away, taken away by the Bucks. A tough team to get the ball in on with the length they have defending. The lob down low. Overshooting the target that time was Darius Brewer. Safford, Klesmit, Larson open out front. That time he had all kinds of room around him, and Ryan Larson able to come through with his first made 3 of the game, and back in front goes Wofford.
And you may wonder, why did Max Klesmit put it on the floor right there? Really, he had the defense closing out, so he knew he could get in the paint, and then when things collapsed, he'd find a teammate like he did right there, Larson, for an open 3.
You see Desmond Oliver, like a six-man on the floor at your top of your screen, the head coach of ETSU. Sloan steps back. David Sloan starting to feel it. He combined for 21 points against the Terriers last year. That trade gives them 14, and we're tied this time at 38.
And that shot was a player making a play when the play breaks down.
Lesmond works inside. Another kick. This time Bigelow from the right wing. And each team, which was below 30% beyond the arc, now starting to feel the heat in the second half.
Yeah, back and forth we go. Wofford's the team, though, that really relies on the three more than ETSU.
And ETSU, a team coming in that defends the three really well. Opponents are hitting just 32% on them. Some of that may speak to the fact that a decade moving on, that's kind of a gaping hole in the interior defense. Sloan this time. And Bigelow, another rebound. Isaiah Bigelow now with 9 boards in the game. Safford ahead of Steve. Larson from the corner. Can't make it two straight beyond the arc.
That was the right pass. Larson would like to have that one over again. Both teams giving maximum effort. You can't you can't fault the teams, the players for what they're trying to do. It hasn't always been clean, but they know what's at stake here.
And Sloan showing you that he realizes the importance of protecting the home court in a SoCon game. Tied for the third time coming out of the halftime locker room.
That's exactly right. You got to try to protect home and then steal a few wins on the road if you're going to win or get a good seed for the conference tournament.
BJ Mack delivering. Big bucket for him here early on in the second half. Give him 15. Just as ETSU comes back and ties it, Wofford able to move back in front.
Yeah, nice job by the veteran Mack. You've got to try to play through him, though, if you're Wofford.
Brewer kicks it to Sloan. Gets it back, working inside of
college basketball, key items, rules changes, what's going on, but it really focuses on men's basketball here in the league, and there's more than enough to talk about individually and collectively.
And the way this game has gone, this certainly could be a topic of conversation on the next game's list, so check it out. SoConSports.com. Godwin, they hope to get him going. He's become an effective scorer for them. Klesmith, the leader of their band, no, but Godwin the offensive rebound, and right back up.
That is a nice offensive rebound. That's the first of the second half for the Terriers at the offensive end. Godwin just went up and got it over 2 Buck defenders. Here he is on the Klesmith miss. He just goes over Weber, kind of pushed Yasser aside. Nice job right there for the big man out of Oklahoma.
And he makes it a 3-point play, his first points of the game. Whereas Mack had kind of had to change his philosophy on the court, Godwin's minutes are the ones that really increased when Jones went down with the injury for the Wofford club. And they're back up by 5 after leading by 3 at the break. And that's big for the Bucks. King from the outside, and Jordan King gets into the scoring column. He was 0 for 6 before making that 3.
That's right, but he had been 15 of his last 30, right? So he had confidence. Got to have that short memory if you're a shooter.
Safford off the Bigelow miss. Terriers will reset. Godwin, Weber defends. Weber just picked up his first foul in the game. Here's Safford from the right wing. Morgan Safford able to hit down the long jumper.
And that is 2 back-to-back possessions where an offensive rebound gave Wofford points. That's 5 points the last 2 possessions because of offensive rebounds.
Back out to a 5-point lead. Bonnie Patterson on the floor for the Bucks. His role has changed a little bit. He was getting more minutes in the previous couple of seasons. Weber, a big fella, looking to make one from the outside. Godwin the rebound.
Yeah, you're right. Bonnie Patterson was the only ETSU player to start all 23 games last year.
Terriers out rebounded the Bucks by 5. Got a foul that time on King of ETSU, or was it on Klesmith of Wofford, which were number 2?
That was Klesmith on the charge, driving baseline. Yeah, nice job by King.
Nice Klesmith picking up the personal foul.
Watch that again, right? Klesmith, King had closed out so he couldn't take the 3, tried to force it there on the baseline. He'd been successful a couple of times driving and kicking. That time King put that foot out of bounds, and Larson was in good defensive position.
Klesmit getting a breather after picking up a personal foul. And that is 2 on him from the wing. Not that time for Jordan King, the Siena transfer. Patterson into the game, someone to watch beyond the arc. Godwin just with a different hop in his step since he made that 3-point play moments ago.
Yeah, although you talk about different hop, I thought he traveled right there.
Yeah. Patterson. Larson on the wing, shot clock under 10. Godwin right in front of the hoop, no. Battles with Seymour, takes it away, rejected by Ty Brewer. Good recovery by the Terriers, and now the reach in.
From Albany, played for the Albany City Rocks, an elite EYBL Nike team.
And knocked away by Triple Wofford, Bigelow out front, but there's Sloan. But Siena College in Albany, and kind of needed a change of scenery is what his coach told me, and so here he is in Johnson City, Tennessee.
He was finally able to knock one down. He's just 1 of 7, 1 of 8 behind the arc, but again, he's a guy that's going to continue to shoot it when he's got clean looks.
Bigelow, tough defensive assignment, step back, Brewer, no. Battle for the rebound, Mack wins that. Terriers out-rebounded ETSU in this game by 8.
Yeah, they've done a nice job at both ends. They've come up with some key offensive rebounds here in the second half, but led by Bigelow, they've been good at the defensive end, limiting the Bucks to second chance points.
Mack just 1 bucket here in the second half after a 13-point first half. Bigelow, and the rebound coming down to Patterson. 3 second half ties, but Wofford is not yet fallen behind in the second half, and an offensive foul will be called on Sloan.
Yeah, Larson, I mean, he saw that train coming. He moved, tried to set his feet. Now, that was a close one right there, but he leads this Wofford team in charges. You know, going back real quickly to Jordan King, or excuse me, but to ETSU on the boards, not, -8, you said. Look, just 1 point second chance for these Bucks. Again, Isaiah Bigelow's kind of been the leader for this Terrier team on the glass.
Sloan his first foul, 2 in the second half now on the Bucks. Make it 3 team fouls with Patterson with the contact. Bonnie Patterson picks up his first. You know, Dean, you and I talked earlier about the great 2018 and 19 Wofford team and the 19 and 20 ETSU team. Probably 2 of the top 5 we think in SoCon history. Steph Curry and the team there around 2007 for Davidson. You got to figure 59.
West Virginia,
West Virginia from the corner. Going to fall for Klesmit. Terriers able to recycle. And then is the 5th best team, the Johnny Taylor Sweet 16 Chattanooga team in the late 90s. Is it the Mr. Jennings early 90s ETSU,
we've got
one of those teams?
Yep. There's no question we got Bucks fans listening here, and they're thinking, hey, there was a run there, about late 80s, early 90s with Mr. Jennings and Greg Dennis and Calvin Talford, Major Webb. I mean, God rest them. Just some really, really good players for Les Robinson.
Teams that almost pulled off major upsets in the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Off the inbound, 5 in the shot clock. Mack, the big fella, also able to drain the trade. Gets another one to go down in the ball game. Give them 18, and the Terriers have their biggest lead of the afternoon at 8.
Yeah, a little bit of a drought here for ETSU. They haven't been able to hit the ball in the basket now for, almost 4 minutes now.
That's just kind of how it goes for them. And they're also prone to giving up big scoring runs by the other team. It's been a real hang-up for them so far this season in their 9-6 start. Quickly they find the open man, Klesmit. Off the dribble, the pump, and Max Klesmit knocks down another. Desmond Oliver trying to stop the train that is a Wofford run. That's build the lead out to 55-44. So a timeout on the court here in Johnson City, 8:56 to go. Terriers and Bucks doing battle here this afternoon. A Wofford team trying to break into the win column in the SoCon on our Ingles SoCon Game of the Week. With Dean Keener, Pete Hannity with you back in Johnson City. The Wofford Terriers have built their first double-figure advantage of the afternoon. Put together a pretty nice little run, 9-0. Dean, a couple of things jump off the stat sheet.
Yeah, Wofford's done it with the 3-ball here in the second half. Right, first half they were 4 of 18. Now they've made 6 of 11, and you see there the last one coming by B.J. Mack, his second of the game. And Klesmit knocks one down on the tough closeout. But again, 6 of 11, that's one thing. You know, the other thing is second chance points, 18-1 in favor of the Terriers. A lot of that has to do with Sam Godwin on the offensive boards.
Terriers on a 14-3 run over the past 5.5 to go along with 9-0 in just under 4 minutes. Meanwhile, a scoring drought of 4.5 minutes currently for the Bucks. Seymour, it's not his place on the floor to shoot. Terriers defensively just seem to have ETSU out of rhythm again, like they did in the opening half in the early going. Shot clock coming up on 10, and Sloan the turnover. That's rare for him.
No, you're exactly right. I don't know that it's so much what ETSU's not doing. Well, maybe you could say, but the Wofford defense has really been locked in. Now, part of that is just it's a natural cause of when the ball goes through the hoop at one end offensively, your defense tends to become a little more focused.
14 turnovers for the Bucks. Terriers force 15 a game. Strong move, Klesmit. Brewer denies, and his brother Ty able to run down the rebound.
Ty Brewer can rebound the basketball for sure. He had 13 against VMI on Wednesday. Most importantly, though, now the Bucks, they've got to get going offensively.
But Darius Brewer, that's big as he fires over Larson. First bucket in a while for him and his team. He's got 18 in the game with he and Mack at 18 points on each side.
That was a 5-minute scoring drought. But again, even at an 8-point game, you're okay if you're ETSU. You just got to get some stops. You'll get the ball in the basket eventually.
Mack saving a near turnover. Strong pass. Bigelow couldn't handle it. Another timeout on the court. Darius Brewer hitting the tray will get things fired up as the Bucks head to the bench at the under 8 timeout.
Yeah, very well may. He's got a short memory in that the sense, look, he doesn't care that there's been a little bit of a drought. He missed his last one. He can knock down shots. Ingles, SoCon Game of the Week from Freedom Hall.
Action here in Johnson City, our Ingles SoCon Game of the Week. Ingles low prices, love the savings. As the Terriers and ETSU Bucks would still have a good stretch run ahead, even though Wofford built an 11-point advantage moments ago. Now ETSU tries to get a run going. And away from the ball, a foul inside. But Darius Brewer reacted as if it were going to be called on him. But instead, the guilty party is Wofford's Morgan Safford, and he'll pick up a second foul. So Wofford and ETSU, a couple of teams that I think you'd consider among the top 6 or 7 in the conference. We'll kind of touch on it here in a moment, is how many guys who could still be on each team's roster currently playing at a high level elsewhere in college basketball.
Yeah, make no mistake about it. There's probably 6 or 8 guys that could start for most teams in the country that have played in these programs the last 3 years.
Go from long distance that time for Brewer, and rare miss for him beyond the arc today. He's now 4 of 7.
Yeah, kind of close the loop. You know, you think of the guys at Virginia Tech, Kevin Aluma, Storm Murphy, Hunter Couture never played. He signed at Wofford. He got B.J. Mack scoring.
The South Florida transfer with a nice move inside. He's got a 20-point game.
Well, and then for ETSU, right, Damari Monsanto, who was the freshman of the year last year, now at Wake Forest. Davion Williamson, if I'm not mistaken, Bo Hodges still at Butler. Just a ton of good players. That said, you talk about, yeah, this guy was a transfer. That's just the way of the world right now in college athletics, particularly basketball and football. I don't necessarily like it, but again, when you have 800-900 kids a year go to the transfer portal.
Brewer came to ETSU from Southeast Missouri. Good defense on the baseline that time. Pretty good look on the turnaround. It's another empty possession for the Bucks. It remains a 10-point game. Safford. Klesmit. He can't get it to fall. Gets his own rebound. Open man of the wing. Larson.
That is a big, I wouldn't call it a dagger just yet with 6 minutes to go, but an excellent offensive rebound. Again, second chance points. Now 21-1 in favor of the Terriers.
Klesmit, really good passer as well. Biggest lead of the day for Wofford. King. Weber, he'll try for three. And the rebound coming down to Safford. That's been a big story in this game as well. Rebounding, Terriers continue to own the glass. Out rebounding the Bucks by more than 10.
Yeah, it's really been one and done most of the day. Nice job by the Terriers. Now they want to make sure they milk just a little bit of clock and get open threes if they can.
Not that time for Larson. Safford another rebound. His 7th of the game. Bigelow has 9 for the Terriers.
That's 11 offensive rebounds on the afternoon for Wofford. We mentioned time and time again, they have turned those into second chance points.
Larson, quick pass, Mack. And now Safford to beat the shot clock. Weber comes away with it. BJ Mack, by the way, 20 points, and that's a new high for him. Inside pass, Tyberg fouled on the way up.
Nice pass ahead. That's a good foul, if there is such a thing, by Larson. I don't know that it was intentional, but he wasn't going to let Ty Brewer just have the lay-in and potentially allow the Bucks to go into some pressure defense. Nice pass ahead right there. Larson trying to slap it away, but he's forcing Brewer to have to earn it at the free throw line. I always like that mentality, no layups. Unless you're in foul trouble, you force the other team to earn it at the free throw line. You know, interesting now, look, the Bucks are at the free throw line, but they've got something here that if the opponent misses both free throws, everybody in the house gets a free chicken sandwich or coupon out the door. So we haven't seen it here today yet, but boy, if somebody misses the first free throw, everybody in Freedom Hall starts cheering. A little bit of pressure right now, obviously so. Try to force the Terriers into some inadvertent passes.
Mack a high in SoCon play so far this season with his 20-point game. Patterson will kick. Klesmit this time from outside. There's Klesmit, just 8 points so far, 2 of 9 beyond the arc, but the Terriers have been able to make stops defensively like just then, and Larson slow to get up, but
ran into his teammate Klesmit there. Boy, I thought he was going to come up with a bloody nose, but much like his teammate for a couple of years, Storm Murphy, he's as tough as there is.
And rejected, no. Goaltending will be the call this season on CBS Sports Network, on basic cable and on satellite. 3 p.m. next Saturday for Furman and Chattanooga. Join us for Engel's SoCon Game of the Week and on the CBS Sports Network next Saturday. Some great action from the SoCon coming your way. ETSU trying to add some drama to the finish here. And right out of the timeout, good guy to go to. Sloan is 19, back to a 12-point game.
That's what they need. They need to attack the basket right now. Try to put some fouls on Wofford, get some easy baskets. Most importantly, score, not only to cut into this lead, but allow them to get into some pressure defense.
Bigelow and Mack, they're going to touch the ball a bunch. Bigelow, 90% free throw shooter coming in, so they're going to want to have it in his hands when the Bucks have to start fouling.
Wofford's a good free throw shooting team, really overall.
Oh, wow, BJ Mack. He's been at Wofford for over a year now. First time I've seen him do that.
Yeah, that's NBA-esque, if you will. Backed the defender down and then had a fadeaway. That 8-footer became a 12-footer, but boy, that hit nothing but net. Watch it again here. He backs in the freshman Yasser and then turns. Boy, that is a pretty shot. That's hard to defend right there. That's just better offense than good defense.
Mack leads all scorers with 22. Bigelow was just called for his second personal. And from the outside, a much-needed tray is drained. Pressure by the Bucks. Klesmit, good ball handler. Sloan building on his good afternoon. Now has 22 in an 11-point game. Mack the handoff, Safford. Safford quick find on the baseline. Isaiah Bigelow, nice touch. Been clear on the glass today as Bigelow, but he's also having a nice day scoring. Give him 12, and it's back out to a 13-point advantage.
You know, Mack has been really good. He leads with 22, but the go-to guy has been the open guy for Wofford this afternoon. Really good ball movement when they've needed it.
Sloan, step back. And there's Mack with the rebound. Not only a 22-point scoring day, but now 7 boards.
Now at this point, you can, unless ETSU fouls, you can run it under about 1:50. Keep it in the hands of your best free throw shooters. You can potentially steal a win on the road if you're Wofford. Be huge. Kind of help them get back from 2 losses to start the season at home.
Off the miss, Patterson, Larson, and a block to be called. Brian Larson went for the charge as he has liked to do, but unable to get that to happen. So he picks up the personal foul.
And just transition defense. This wasn't quite set, kind of leaned his shoulders. That's just such a difficult foul. I mean, that's the right call. It's such a difficult one for officials, though. Bang, bang. You're always going to be 50% of the time you're going to be right. Problem is you're going to be 50% of the time wrong.
7 on the Terriers as a team, so a 1-and-1 opportunity for Vonnie Patterson. Just 3 of 5 on free throws this season coming in. And has yet to score in limited minutes, and that'll continue. Eventually deflected over to Larson, hung up on the baseline. And look at the foul. Or was it last touched by the Bucks? Looked initially, based on the reaction by Ty Brewer, that he'd been called for the personal.
Yeah, it did. You're exactly right. Now a spot throw in. Good athletic catch right there by B.J. Mack.
Terriers trying to move over 500 on the road this season. 3-3 coming in away from Jerry Richardson Indoor Stadium. They've been a very good road team. Includes victories at Georgia, also against Gardner-Webb. Tough place to play.
And a near miss at Clemson.
Nearly a win in their second game of the season at Little John Coliseum. Stop for the Bucks, but they're still down by 13. Sloan, King wasn't expecting the pass that low, I don't believe.
No, just this second half just has not been ETSU basketball. A little sloppy. That's the 12th turnover of the second half. Not characteristic.
Turnover of the game.
Yeah, just not characteristic of a Desmond Oliver coach team, and you're going to have those times.
And going for the steal, King. And it'll stay Wofford's ball with 53.3 to go. Folks start heading for the exits here at Freedom Hall. Desmond Oliver, first season guide in the Bucks, says that he's going to be very balanced in how he builds his team. Incoming high school recruits, transfers out of the portal, but also not averse to taking junior college players. And Steve Forbes built a great program with a lot of guys from the junior college ranks. So far, a bumpy start in SoCon play. A little step through
in the mid-50s. Boy, it happens in a hurry, and especially after the national championship in football Monday, things really turn to college hoops.
So King hit the deck, but he bounces up. You got a foul in a hurry here if you're ETSU after they couldn't get the steal. And King, being instructed a foul, couldn't reach in on time on Larson. Boy, 15 seconds plus now off the clock on this possession for Wofford. Klesmit blew right by the defender King. And
nothing against G, but as good as VMI is this season, and they have been inside Cameron Hall, that's a really, really good road win.
That's just their second loss at home in like the last 20 games. Alley blob, King to Ty Brewer, but all it'll do is make this one look a little bit more respectable. And the Wofford Terriers simply have to dribble it out to come away with a victory. Been a pretty